Hello, my name is Michelle. I received an LVAD 2 years ago now, and my journey began when I found out I needed an LVAD because my left ventricle was weaker and needed support on pumping. So that's where the LVAD would come into play. But at the time, my two options were a life vest, which involved taking home a drip, which at the time, for months, I was on debuting drip and I couldn't get off without it. And there was a shortage, so that wasn't an option. And milrinone was my second option, but I found out the hard way I was allergic. And yeah, that ended up pretty bad. So that made me think more and harder on that LVAD. And I kind of wish I had more info instead of like the little pamphlets that didn't relate to people around my age and my experience. So as you're watching this, I hope this helps you, that makes your decision on the LVAD more like confirming or what you need than how I first dove into it blind. Before my LVAD, my life and health were pretty healthy. I was in my early 20s, mid-20s-ish, and I was climbing, I was going on roller coasters, I was living life. And then out of the blue, I ended up with heart failure due to like a random shocking experience that happened to me. And why I decided to go with to go get the LVAD was hoping I can get some of that experience and live my life again instead of being trapped in a hospital bed and connected to a drip full time. It gave me a chance to actually get back out into the real world and have me get to do like not exactly like how I lived life before, but at least give me the chance to not be stuck in a hospital bed. Since my LVAD, my life has changed in a pretty big way. Like once I was done, released from the hospital and I recovered from the whole surgery and everything, it was pretty tough. It was a pretty tough recovery. Took about 6 months, but once I was able to actually accomplish getting up and sitting down on my own, that was a huge achievement I ever had. It was very humbling, pretty much, with how I had to have help getting up and down off the couch or into using the bathroom. And I know I felt really bad putting my family and my friends, who were my caretakers, through all that, but all the love and support they showed and the encouragement they gave me, they were like, no, like, don't feel bad. You just survived an open heart surgery. You have a machine inside you that's keeping you alive. There's nothing more incredible than that. They're like, you recovering from it means you're still fighting. You're still here with us. Like, we don't mind. Like, this is not a toll. You're not a burden on anyone. And after that time, I really needed to hear that because I felt so ashamed. Like, because before I was always independent and I was able to do things on my own. And like, I could go to the bathroom on my own. I could walk up a flight of stairs without puffing. I was able to like put on my socks, like simple things like everyday life like that. I could put on a shirt. I could sit myself up. Like I could even recline myself in my recliner. And I would have to like basically have like a little cowbell kind of deal. And I felt silly using it and I felt kind of ashamed using it. They're like, no, like better you use it and we help you than you having to end up back in the hospital again. So having that love and that support and that village to build you back up is a huge thing. And it's one of the things that makes the journey worth it. Is who you're fighting for and who you're staying alive for. Whether it's a piece of machinery or just little things. And once you get your stamina back and you're climbing up those stairs, that like little accomplishment you feel, getting up on your own with like people's supervision, like watching you, it's a huge accomplishment. And it gets better to where the point I'm actually running up and down those stairs. I'm actually doing my laundry again. I'm doing dishes. I stand for long periods of time, even though like the bag, it's heavy. And I would recommend getting a backpack. And if you have a backpack, make sure you have like very soft, squishy pads because it would take a toll on your shoulders. But other than that, you won't realize that is there. To get well and healthy, I've taken steps to where I've gotten recipes and everything, like from heart healthy to like low sodium cookbooks, and improvised, because the majority of them had greens that, as an LVAD patient, you cannot have depending on what your iron level is, like for vitamin K and everything, so you have to be careful for. So you have to improvise your recipes often. And I've made my own, like, no salt marinara. I have friends who made bread that doesn't have any sodium or like very low sodium into it, and it tastes just as good. Like, honestly, it came out even better than any bread I've actually eaten before. And it's just like little things like that, habits and routines. Like, you got to start small once you recover from LVAD. You can't go back into how we were living life before. You have to do baby steps. So once I was able to use it on my own, that was a huge accomplishment. Stepping up more steps and actually making it upstairs was another accomplishment, without the chest pains and the overexertions you have to be careful for. And sleeping on your back, that'll take some time. And it will be a challenge. Like, I slept on the recliner for once at a almost sit-up angle to manage it, but over time I was able to finally sleep on my back again. And normally, like, sleeping with the goal being corded up at night would be a big change in your life. I found it easier to sleep on the left side and have the machine on the left side with me, and just slept on my right, and you won't even notice the cord as much. The huge support I have from, I know it's the biggest thing I talk about, but it is huge when it comes to post LVAD, because you're going to need all that support, because you will not be able to do this on your own. And once you have that support, even just 3 people in your life can make a difference. The advice I would give someone going through an LVAD evaluation would be to make sure you have community and support, like, once you go through it, because you're going to need it once post LVAD. It's going to be quite a journey, not going to lie. It's going to be tough at the very first few months, but once you have that love and support and determination, you'll get through it just fine. No, LVAD was my only option, since all the other ones weren't fit for me, or I had really bad reactions to the other treatments they wanted me to do. And I'm kind of glad I got the LVAD, because it got me out of the hospital. It got me living my life again. But it was very, I was thrown into the dark. So I wish I had someone who, around my age, give their experience to me when I first went through it. So I hope this helps you. Now that I have been through this experience, here's what I tell the care team. Things I wish I knew is latex. If you have a latex allergy, which I do, a way around that for the LVAD dressing, I don't use the actual dressing it comes with. I use medical tape, which I also call cloth tape, and that works just as well. You change it more frequently, but as long as you upkeep and keep it clean, it's good. And the anchors, the Foley anchors would break out on me, so I would use the double strap one you would get from ODI. And that's another thing. ODI will work with you and make sure you have all your supplies and everything, at-home equipment for your INR and all that. And INR is a big thing to learn, and it's a big thing to keep up with, because especially what you eat on your diet. If you eat greens, it's best to keep a high INR just to manage it and our balance. And if you don't eat a lot of greens, it'd be better to do a lower dosage, but you gotta keep in contact with your care team and just communicate with them so they can give you advice as comfortably and live as comfortably, and you would be okay. And another thing I wish I knew was sleeping. It would take a while to get used to sleeping with it, and the movement, and the fact that you don't have a pulse anymore. That was one of the biggest things that freaked me out over when I first got an LVAD. And when the room was quiet, I hear a machine whirring, and that was my first experience of actually hearing the machine inside of me. And that's when it dawned on me that I have a piece of machinery. And it was just amazed how technology can come so far as how it's keeping you alive nowadays. It may be uncomfortable, but like I said again, over time, you will get used to it and your body will adjust. It's gonna be very uncomfortable for the first few months, but after 6 months, you will barely notice that it's getting there. Unless you sleep on your arm and you can hear the machine more. And as for the pulse, it's gone for a while, but it will come back, depending on how your blood flows. Is traveling. Traveling is pretty tough on the LVAD, but I managed to make it work. And if you communicate again with your healthcare team, they will give you, or your LVAD techs, they'll give you options. And always pack your spare batteries. No matter if it's a short trip or anything, you never know what's to come, or you never know if your batteries are going down. Always update your machinery. And if there's any issues, as small as it is, it could be life-changing. So don't hesitate to go in and get it changed. Because a prong on one of my machines that connects to my batteries kind of went out, and I'm kind of glad I went in because they said after a while it might have fell out and I would have not been able to plug it back in, or it won't register that any batteries plugged back in, and that would have ended up pretty bad. So don't take that risk and just be on the safer side. And listen, I know it's annoying to take all these new medications and doing all this stuff, jumping through all these hoops, but it's a lot at first, but it will slowly, gradually go down. And sooner than you know it, you'll be living life normally. I really hope that gives you guys clarity and more bigger decisions. And yeah,